Good morning. You and I today are going to do a B service, a comprehensive B service, and we're going to get into the details, the nitty-gritty, and I'm going to show you what to do and how to do it, where to look, and so on and so forth. And we're going to do a beautiful job. A B service. This is an ML500 W163. It's a 2004 year model. It's a phenomenal car. It has 280,000 miles. Worth it. It's well made, and if you maintain it and you keep up the maintenance, this car will last you for a very long time. I'm aiming for 500,000 miles. We'll see how that goes. So let me show you what a B service entails, and then we'll dive into it. The information for a B service inspection is found in your service booklet light trucks manual. This is good for ML350, ML500, W163, and it covers the G-Wagon also, but the inspection is not the same on both vehicles. For the B service, which you will find on page 16, we're going to cover interior items, wheels and brakes. We're going to go under the vehicle underbody. We're going to cover engine compartment, and then there are some year or mileage, whichever comes first, items then we will cover as well, whether it be 2 years, 3 years, 60,000 miles, 4 years, 5 years, and so on and so forth, and I'll show you what that's all about. That being said, let's get started with interiors first. First item on the list for the ML500 pertains to warning and indicating lamps, illumination, and interior lighting. And you can see right here, it tells you the M class and the G class, which are essentially similar inspections, but some items on the M class do not pertain to the G class, and vice versa. Some of the G do not pertain to the M. I could go a little above and beyond and go and do more than just what this inspection tells you for your own sake. So now it says here, warning and indicating lamps, illumination, and interior lighting. So what we're going to do, we're going to turn the ignition on, make sure that all your indicating lamps come on. Low fuel, obviously it's working. All your lower lights here, all your upper lights here. And this here also tells you if this knob here, if you turn it, either dims or improves the lighting of this windshield. This one is working. Also, hazards. Hazards are coming on. And if I turn the blinker left blinker is working, right blinker is working. So now what we could do is check the outside lights. So let's turn this off. Next, we will cover the high beams, low beams, the actual lights of the car. Okay, low beams on, high beams on. We turn the fog lamps on. There, fog lights are on. Fog lights are off, high beams are on. Blinkers. And hazards, this completes the front. Okay, next we check the rear lights. We'll start it up. And the brake lights, all three, blinker, hazards, and the reverse light. Make sure everything works, and we are looking good. Now there's one last set of lights I want you to inspect. Let me show you. These are the other bulbs I want you to inspect. Make sure that these bulbs are working. You'll find them on the side here, and you're gonna find them right here in the front. Make sure that these bulbs are working. These are your, I believe they're called park lights. All right, good. Now we're done with the outside lights. Now we can do the interior lights. Also, don't forget your license plate lights. Make sure they both work. Don't give police a reason to pull you over just because your license plate lights are not working. Next, we can move on to the interior illumination. So we'll turn the ignition on. Make sure this light comes on. Also this one here. Reading lights. 1 and 2, here we go. And then we have this light here. Make sure that one lights up. Next light we're going to check are under the doors. Where is it? Here it is. This one works. Under this door here, this one also works. Make sure that that light works right there. That one also right there. And then we move on to the trunk. This light here is operated from the switch that it's in the latch right here. And here we go. This light is also working, and you turn it on or off or make it automatic. And we're done with the trunk. We move on to the, again, under the door, illumination. Here it is right here, it's working. And this one here, there it is, it's also working. Make sure that one is working right there. And the other one under the driver's side as well right there. And I believe these are all the lights, and they're all working for the inside. Also, keep in mind this switch right here. This switch controls the interior lights. For example, if you hit it like that once, it turns on the rear lights on both sides, and you hit it again, it shuts them off. Or you can just make it so that the interior lights don't come on at all when you open the door. So you move it forward, and if you open the door, see, the lights don't come on. Whereas if you turn it back on, put it in, open the door, the lights come on. Also, keep in mind that those very lights back there, they're actually switches as well. Let me show you. As you can see, by pressing the light itself, see, they come on and off individually if you're back here reading a book or something, or you need to look at something while the car is being driven and you want the light on. So next on the list of interiors is operation of the throttle. Make sure you go nice and slow and it's a smooth operation all the way, and it's not binding in everything. Now, keep in mind, this is a drive-by-wire or throttle-by-wire, meaning it does not have a direct cable from the gas pedal to the throttle body and the intake. So it's not the valve body. It's just, like I said, a throttle-by-wire. And the operation is smooth. Now, a lot of people wonder what this button is. This is when you are full throttle and you step further, like so, what it does, it just roars into fuel consumption like there's no tomorrow, downshift the transmission, and just launches itself. Ideal if you need to pass somebody or on-ramp on the freeway or things of that nature. Okay, we're done with the throttle. Let's move on to the next thing. Next on the list is windshield wipers, and make sure that the windshield washer system works as well, front and back. So, okay, we know that this works. If you move it in automatic on the bottom part, it works, and there we go, that works as well. The rear wiper and washer is controlled from this button right here. By just moving it up, it turns the wiper on. Let's see if it does. As you can see, and if we hit it again or just hit the bottom one, you should see washer fluid, and here it is, it's coming. And that's how you operate the rear washer. So just by pushing it up, it operates the wiper. Pushing it down, it operates the wiper and washes the rear window as well. Next on the list for interiors is seat belts. What you do, you look at them, make sure that there's no broken threads, that the latching system works properly. And it does, like so. And when you pull on it, it locks. This is also an adjustable feature of the front and rear seat belts. Make sure that works also. And this car has 5 seat belts, so be sure to check all 5 seat belts. This one is for the middle one. There you go, that goes. Yeah, that's what you do. You make sure that all the threads is good, that there's no broken threads. And make sure this works as well. And when you pull on it, make sure the locking mechanism works also. Same thing you're going to do on the other side. Next on our list is the resetting of the flexible service system counter and the instrument cluster. This is essentially your little 1 wrench or 2 wrench that appears here, like this one right here. It says that the B service is due within 900 miles, but I'm going to do it a little early. So what we're going to do is reset the flexible service system or the maintenance computer. So first thing we're going to do, we're going to put the ignition in, the key in the ignition. You're going to turn the ignition on until when all the lights come on. Within 4 seconds of all the lights come on, you're going to hit this button here twice. And the 2 times you hit this button, it has to be within 1 second. the maintenance indicator is going to come on. Then you're going to turn the ignition off. You're going to press and hold this button here and turn the ignition on again and press and hold until you hear a beep, and that should reset the maintenance computer. Should we try it? Let's try it. That's it. It's reset. Did you guys see it? And that's how you reset your flexible service system. And now it's at 10,000 miles. And next on the list of things to do for the interior is it's called the dust filter, or in this case, it's a cabin filter. And you're going to find it right under the passenger area C. You're going to have to take these two screws off, 1 and 2. And then there's a 732 screw under there. So let's do that. So we'll take this one first. You have these two Phillips right here. I don't know if you can see them. 1. You can see it. And that'll give us access to the cabin air filter or dust filter. Now this is a B service item that you're to do every 20,000 miles or every B service. Now why do I say that? Because sometimes Mercedes will give you B service back to back, skipping A altogether, depending on where your driving conditions are. So we're gonna disconnect this right here. And this is your cigarette lighter or power, not cigarette lighter, but a power supply. Get this out of the way like so. And the filter is, I don't know if you can see it, it's right here. We undo this and the filter comes out. Now it is a one-way filter. And it has to, this was installed wrong, my bad. The arrows have to go that way. The fan is right here and it's blowing air into the system, so the arrows have to point that way. This is the new filter, and you can see it has direction of flow. This will be installed this way inside of the cabin. And the part number for it is, if you're using an STP filter, is CA F7728. So let's put this baby in. Okay, like I said, this is a very easy install. It goes in like so. Again, mindful of the arrows. And then the lid goes like this. Yeah, like so. And then you put the cover in, don't forget the plug, and you put the 3 screws back in. And that is the cabin air filter. After installing the dust filter or the cabin air filter, make sure that this outlet works. You could do a function test on it, such as plugging in a battery charger for your phone. And where is the light? I know there was a light. There. Light comes on, it does. That means the plug is plugged in properly. We are good to go. We are done here. Let's move on to the next thing, which is the last item for the interior of the cabin, and it's checking out the park brake to make sure it works. The park brake on a W163 is foot operated. It's right here, and this is the release handle for it right here. And right now the park brake is off. As you can see, the rotor spins. All right, so we put the park brake on. It's just a function test. Just make sure that and that's it, the rotor is not spinning anymore. Now, if you wanted to make some adjustments, which you can do, let's release the brake first. If you wanted to make some adjustments, I'm going to show you how you can do that. You just have to rotate the rotor in such a way until you encounter, let me see if I can get the, where is it? There is a setting mechanism. Let me find it first. Hold on. Here it is. If you see in there, I don't know if you could tell, inside of that hole where the lug stud goes, there is an adjustment, kind of like a toothed spinning wheel. And by really turning clockwise or counterclockwise will determine how tight and stiff this is. And you could totally make the adjustment on your own. Same thing goes for the other side. We are done with the interior inspection items. We can now move to wheels, brakes, and tires. And what we're going to be checking is the brake pads front and back thickness, rotors front and back thickness. We're going to do tire damage and condition, tread wear, tire pressure, and so on and so forth. So let's get started. I replaced the brakes not too long ago on the front and rears, and you can tell where the hole is right there. That is where the brake wear sensor goes, which in this case is on the inside here. And these are reversible, and there's definitely plenty of meat on these brake pads still. The thickness of the rotor, I measured it earlier. It was, here I got the numbers right here. The front rotor came in at 1.263 inches, which is 32.08 millimeters, with the nominal being 32 and a minimum of 30 millimeter thickness, whereas the rear came in at 0.549 inches thick, or 13.94 millimeters, with a nominal of 13.97 and a minimum of 12.192. So what you do, you get yourself a caliper, make sure it's zeroed, like this one here, and you go right, trying to go pretty deep in there, as you can see. There it is, you see it? That's the measurement. Sorry, there it is. That's the measurement for the front rotor. This is in inches. You're going to have to do the conversion in millimeters. And same goes for the back. Again, I did the rotors, brakes front and back on this one, and you can see there's plenty of meat, and you can see the hole where the brake wear indicator is. There's still plenty of meat on this one. And the thickness of this rotor is also plenty. Here's the measurement right here. I already took this measurement earlier so that, because it's kind of hard to hold the camera and the caliper and measure and write everything down. That's why I wrote them all down right here. So brake pads are good. Rotors are good. Next is tires. The tires, on the other hand, here we are. I've had these tires for 5 years, and they're just about done. As you could see on the tread wear indicators, which are usually right here. I don't know if you can see them. These tires have pretty much arrived, and there's not a whole lot of tread left on them. I rotate these every 5,000 miles, and the wear pattern has been pretty consistent. I'm happy with it, even though it seems to wear on the outsides a little bit more than it does down the middle, which is one of the reasons why I decided to increase the tire pressures, which is the next point of the tire brakes, wheels, tires, and brakes inspection. Now, what you're going to do, obviously, you're going to look at your tire, make sure that you see no nails, nothing that it's in here that it shouldn't be in here. They may deflate your tire while you're driving. Just do a full look on it, make sure that you don't find anything that shouldn't be in there, and it's looking like we are looking pretty good. I already did an earlier inspection on all of them. Also, besides the tread, now this is a unidirectional tire, so when you do the rotation, which I do every 5,000 miles, and I recommend you do the same, you can only go front to back, back to front, whereas if you have a all-season tires, you could crisscross rotation. Now, operating pressures. This tire here, which is made in Japan, is a Toyo tire? Yes, it's a Toyo tire. It has a max operating pressure of right here. You're going to find it right here. It's 51 psi. That means that this tire here is good for a max operating pressure of 51 psi. What I usually do, I run them at 40 psi to try to wear out the middle more than the outsides. And also it reduces rolling drag, which improves miles per gallon in the long run. Also, if you want to know what the tire pressure or operating pressures are for this car, you're going to find in the driver's side right here what the operating pressures are. There's actually two locations. We're going to look at here. It says cold tire pressure, 32 in the front and 39 in the rear, but in the rear at 39 is when you're at max load. There's another location right here, which is, I think it's more convenient and more descriptive right here in the fuel tank. It says right here, you have normal load and max load. Normal load, the front is 32, rear is 32, whereas max load is 32 in the front, 39 in the back. And it says for warm tires, say you've been driving for a while and they're warm to the touch, add 7 psi to whatever you're measuring to make sure that you're within tolerance. Again, because I run a light load, meaning I don't run anything in this car, there's never anything in the car. I run an equal pressure front and back, but instead of doing 32, see, I carry nothing in this car. I do 40 psi all the way around to reduce rolling drag and to improve miles to the gallon. So again, we check the rotors, we check the brakes front and back, we check the tire tread wear, we check the tire pressure. Next, we move on to the next item, which I believe is either under the engine bay or the suspension. Let's take a look. The next point is the vehicle underbody. So let's go ahead and check the vehicle underbody. As far as the undercarriage items you're to look at, you're looking for leaks, chafing, or damaged components, front and back. You're going to look at the upper and lower ball joints, rubber bushings, and things of that nature. And anything that shouldn't be, anything that looks out of like something is not right. For example, when you do an inspection, this is your lower ball joint. Now, I am replacing the upper and lower ball joints front and back for this car. That's your lower ball joint. That's your upper ball joint right there. That one, the boot is torn. These are your rubber bushings. You're going to be checking 1 and 2. And you can tell this thing has a leaking compressor or something is leaking above that, and it's leaking through the compressor. This car also has a rear engine seal leaking, which are very common in this car, and that will not be done until the transmission comes off. As far as anything else goes, there's no chafing. I always keep an eye on this car to make sure everything is fine. We're looking good as far as what is acceptable. Same goes for the other side. You're going to be looking at, again, this upper ball joint. This one is leaking, so is, but the top and bottom are going to get done. And another thing you're going to be looking at in the front is these rubber boots right here in your steering components. As far as the front goes, make sure that the integrity is there. And as far as I can tell, everything is fine. It's not really leaking any major oil. Same goes on the other side. See, then again, I also did the inner and outer tie rods, including these boots, not too long ago. One indicator, if there's a major oil leak in your steering system, all you have to do is really look at the oil level. And because it's an hydraulic fluid, you're going to have a high-low when it's warm and a high-low when it's hot. And you can see it right here. This thing is within operating condition levels for the temperature that it's at. So we are good as far as steering goes. And we are doing the same thing for the back. What we're checking for is a upper and lower ball joint. Again, these are being replaced. And the rubber bushings, you're going to be looking at these ones. If there's anything loose or broken, these tie rods, these connecting rods for the stabilizer bar were replaced when the rear shocks were replaced. And everything looks fine. Everything looks dry. There's never any puddles on the ground except for water right now because I spilled a bunch of water earlier. The fuel tank has a bent strap, but then again, so take your time, do a general visual inspection, make sure everything is fine. Look at your undercarriage that holds the body to the frame. Take a look at your spare tire, make sure it's fine. Again, I just replaced this one not too long ago, and these are, when you check the tire pressure on a B inspection. Also do the spare tire, and I believe this one gets inflated at 60 psi. This one was replaced not too long ago, so I know it's in pretty good condition. So what you do look at in the left, you're going to look at in the right. Again, ball joints, bushings, things that shouldn't be leaking or out of place. You know, make sure everything is fine. And we are looking good. We are looking good. Another thing you're going to be addressing is the fuel filter on a B. You're supposed to do it every 60,000 miles or 5 years on a B inspection. And this one I'm going to do a separate video for, and it sits right behind this panel, right on top of right behind the frame and the body. And it is, let me tell you, it is a pain to get to and address. But again, that'll be something we'll look at another time. And while you're at it, look at the CV boots and make sure that they're not cracked or leaking grease front and back, because I mean that is part of the drive line. If you're going to be in here, might as well look at these as well, because guys, you know, I understand that how you do anything is how you do everything. So if you're going to go this far to take everything apart and look, might as well give it a good look. Just go a little beyond what B inspection requirements are, because after all, this is the car you drive. This is the car probably your wife or husband drives, and you want it to be reliable and safe for them. Make sure everything is good to go. And as far as this one goes, we are looking good. Nothing is leaking or broken or chafing, and we are ready to move on to the next phase of this inspection, which is under the hood. The last part of the B service inspection for an ML500 or W163 takes place under the hood. And they want you to look at some fluids, leaks, and things of that nature. So we're going to start out with major components, check for chafe marks, line routing, and damaged components. In this case, I did the valve cover gaskets not too long ago. Actually, it was this past winter. And I looked at them earlier, and they look good. They look pretty leak-free. Let me grab a flashlight, which I have right here, and I'm happy with that. I know that the power steering line that I did it was a few months ago is also leak-free, and we are looking good there. That compressor looks like it's leaking from the AC compressor is leaking from the bottom. Power steering level is we're not going to do the level just yet. You see right there, right under this engine heat exchanger cooling system, right here. Let me show you. See this right here? It's wet. This part right here that mates against the oil filter housing, this thing has a propensity to leak. Last time I replaced this, and I did it to torque spec, and I used even not anti-seize, a Loctite on the bolts, but even so, it still leaks from the O-rings. And if you see the video, I noticed that there was some pitting corrosion on the surface of this heat exchanger for the oil system, and which is what's causing probably this weeping of oil. Now, it's not leaking bad, but it is leaking. As far as anything else goes, leak-wise, it's looking good. Other than the oil pan is leaking, that's because it's an original setup. Up here, overall, it looks good. Next thing it has as check is we're going to have to do the oil change. We'll do that last. Check the following fluid levels, correct if necessary. Engine cooling system, antifreeze, corrosion protection. Here it is right here. This is under cold condition. This is full. Next as is check the brake system. Master cylinder is full, and I actually replaced the oil. Last time I did the brakes this past winter. The level looks good. It's right at the top of the min-max. Power steering, it is full. We looked at it earlier, and it's right at the max level for that temperature. A little breezy out here, and it's flipping pages on its own. Windshield washer fluid, here it is. We got half a tank, essentially. And I got to tell you guys, I'm using this orange product that the wife suggested I use, and I actually don't like it. And the reason why I don't like it is because not so much for the windshield, but when I use it for the rear window, it leaves an orange streak that I don't like. So I don't recommend it. If you could use just the blue one, I suggest you do that. So just use the light blue. And so long as it's for the winter wise anyway, it's good for low temperatures as well. So once you're lubricating joints on throttle control, lubricate joints on throttle control, check operation and condition. So we checked the windshield washer system, power, steering, brake, engine. We're going to change the oil on it. This is your throttle gas by wire throttle system right here. So actually, it wants you to put some lubricating oil. So we're going to do that. So let me get a can of oil real quick. The lubricating oil I like to use is platinum grade LPS2. This is what it looks like, and it's really good stuff actually. So you're just going to put a dab on right here where the spring is. Just a little bit, nothing crazy. It's not there, like that. A little bit here on the hinge, and a little bit on this ball right here. And we'll just, we'll just move it around a little bit. Make sure that, and that's your throttle system right here. Make sure that's nice and lubed as required. The excess oil will clean up with a rag. Let me get one. Because the thing about wet lubricants, unlike dry lubricants, they draw dirt and dust and mud and whatnot. This is why I don't really like it. I like the dry lubricants better. I remember one time I put some wet lubricant in the door hinges or the door locks of this car right here. And then we ended up going to my wife's family in Wyoming for visit. And where they live in Gillette, they have coal mines out there. And the dirt is a fine red dust. And driving through the property of my wife's uncle, that red dust is so insidious. I ended up getting stuck in these back latches over here and these back doors. I ended up jamming up these whole latches, and the doors were no longer working. I had to open up the doors and take them apart and clean them. So yeah, just be mindful of that. If you're going to use lubricants, I definitely recommend using a dry lubricant over a wet lubricant. But this is why what I'm doing right now is I am, cleaning up the excess oil after I'm done lubing over here. So we did that. So what else does it tell us to do? Okay, battery check and correct fluid level. Check battery condition using Medtronic's MCR717 tester. I don't have that, and that battery is actually a service-free battery. What else? Check catch safety catch and hinges on hinge hood for proper operation. Let's talk about this here. This right here, make sure everything is working nice, and this thing has always worked nice. I replaced the struts not too long ago. This is why the hood still works. Actually, I might put a little bit of lubricant on it because it just makes it work better. So I'm going to put some on this spring right here, some on this pivoting point right here. There we go. Move it around. Then we'll just clean up the excess oil, like so. I just made a mess. Just trying to be clean, guys. This is your vehicle, your wife's vehicle, so be careful. Be mindful. Care for it, man, because like I said earlier, how you do anything is how you do everything. And if you care for something, it's going to show in the quality of the work that you do. Let's put some oil on the hinges as well. I don't know if you can see it right. There it is. You probably don't have to put oil, but I like to go a little bit above and beyond. Because, it's, I like this car. I got to tell you, I see the Mercedes engineering. It's a good car. It's a nice car. I like it. So, what else is it under the hood that we got to check? And then we'll do the, okay, check catch, safety catch. Okay, let's put some oil in here as well. It's lubed too. Okay, so we know it works. And And what's left? Let me see. Okay, so we did check the catch, safety catch, and the hinges on the engine hood for proper operation. So we did a little looping here. We know it works. A little looping over there. Still some oil. Let's clean this up. Oh, sorry. Yeah. Sorry, guys. A one-man operation here, a one-hand operation. Last thing is check condition of the poly V-belt. And what it's talking about is your serpentine belt right here. Now, if you look in my list of videos, I did this timing belt, not timing, the water pump, a thermostat, and the pulleys, and a number of other things on this car. And when I did that, I also did the serpentine belt. So I know it's in pretty good condition. So we know that's good. So all we have left to do under the engine here, so we did checked for leaks. I know where they're at. There isn't any major leaks up here other than this heat exchanger right here. Change oil and filter we're going to do next. And check the fluids. Engine cooling system, a brake system, power steering, windshield washer, lubricate joints on throttle control, check operation and condition. We already did that right there. Then the battery check we cannot do. Check the catch and safety, that's for the hood, and the V-belt. All right, so now let's change the oil, and we're going to talk about what kind of oil to use, and it's viscosity grade based on where you live. So let's do that next. As far as oil change goes, it's standard stuff. Obviously, as you saw earlier, I already got the car up on jack stands, removed the wheels, and I also removed this shroud and the top engine cover, and I put them both right there. I already removed the drain plug, and the oil has been draining for a while. And it's a 13 millimeter M14 shank. It's a rather big plug. And I've already loosened up the oil. So what are we going to do now? I'm actually going to prop you up on a stand, and we're going to go through this together. The oil filter that I'm using is an STP. I get stuff from AutoZone because it's convenient. It's right around the corner from home. And it's the part number S985XL, and it's good for 10,000 miles. So let me prop you up and let me show you how this is going to work. Unlike conventional cars where there is an oil filter, you just screw in and screw out. An M113 and its variances, whether it be a 43, a 50, or a K, it has this oil cartridge. And it has this big old thing right here, like so. So get yourself a little pan, and it has all these oil O-rings that you have to be careful to not miss and replace. So first thing we're going to do, we're going to remove the oil filter, and then we're going to remove all these O-rings. And they're all different sizes, so you can't really mess it up. Stand by. Get yourself something like this, like a pick, and go ahead and remove all the O-rings, starting from the tip. Well, I'm going to start from the tip. You do as you see fit. Now, mind you, the drain plug in the bottom is still open. I'm just going to drain all the oil, you know, nice. So we got all the O-rings removed, so we can now put all the new O-rings that comes with the oil filter. And as I said, it's going to be an S985XL, which is the part number for the STP oil filter on a W163 ML500. Here are all the O-rings right here. Here is the oil filter. We'll put this aside for now. Let's put all the oil rings, the O-rings on first. If you were wondering what tool I used to loosen this up, and it's hand tight, it's only 25 Newton meters or 18 foot-pounds, but if you do it nice and snug by hand, you'll be all right. So this is what I use, but I put a towel around it so that I don't gouge the head or the filter housing. So now, let's go ahead and open this thing up. We'll put the new O-ring. Now be careful where you put the O-ring. As you can see, hold on, let me see if let me show it to you properly. The O-ring goes right in this groove right here. Let me get a pic so you can better see. the O-ring goes in this groove right here. Not here, but right in here. So that's where we're gonna put it. Just past, it's the first groove past the threads. That's where the big oil ring, the new O-ring goes. If I could get it in there. All right, that's in. And it's the bigger one, which is this one here. And they'll go in you know, descending order. Biggest, bigger, big, and then the small one. And that one goes in here. Makes it slippery when you get oil on your fingers. Okay, then you got the smaller one that goes here. Then the smallest one goes on the bottom here. I'm going to dry my hands and I'll show you. Here's it. 1, 2, 3, and 4. So now we can insert our new filter. And it doesn't really matter which side you put it in. Just make sure that it's all the way in like so. Make sure you have some oil on the new O-rings. Put some oil on it, just like you would, and if it was in the other car, you put a little bit of oil on the seal, so you do the same thing on these O-rings. Then you just shove it in, like so. And you tighten it by hand, like so. I know it says 25 Newton meters, but here we go, good and tight. It's not going anywhere. This is down. Now we could go ahead and put the drain plug back in. I did neglect to order new crush copper. Where is it? I don't know where I don't know where my drain plug is right now. I did neglect. Hold on, here it is. I did neglect to order a new crushed copper O-ring. Be sure to order one of these. And the torque on this is the same thing. 25 Newton meters or 18.39 foot-pounds. Let me see. I wrote it down. It's 18.43 foot-pounds for this drain plug right here. So let's go ahead and put all this back together, and we'll fill up the oil. And we're going to talk about oils and their specification based on where you live. We have put the filter back. We have torqued the drain plug right there. So now we are ready to put the oil in. Now, if you go into technical data of your M-Class operator's manual, you'll see that under the engine with oil filter for an ML350 and an ML400, the capacity is 8.5 US quarts. And this is a high capacity oil pen. So yes, it does take 8.5 US quarts, but what we're gonna do is we're gonna put 7.5, and then we will measure to see where we are, because sometimes 8.5 might be too much, because if there's one thing you do not wanna do, as it is stated in here, it says here, excess oil must be siphoned or drained off. It could cause damage to the engine and catalytic converter, not covered by the Mercedes-Benz limited warranty. Now, we're not concerned with the limited warranty, but I do know that on this car, it is of paramount importance that you do not go over the max line. Unlike most cars where between the min and the max, the oil capacity is 1 quart, here is actually 2 quart, as it is stated in page 214, 215, where it says, the filling quantity between the upper and lower marks on the oil dipstick is approximately 2.1 quarts. That being said, let's put some oil in the engine. But before we go into that, if you go into the factory approved service products, June 2003, it's a 2004 car, these are the oil viscosity grades that you can put in the car based on your weather condition or where you live. Now, being that I live at an average about 5,000 feet of altitude and the temperatures around here do dip in the negatives, single digits in the negatives, I do choose to go with 5W30. 5W30, that's the viscosity in winter or cold conditions, and 30 is the operating temperature viscosity. I don't like to go with higher viscosities, even though they're acceptable within a temperature ranges, because the higher the viscosity, the higher pressure will the pump generate. And if you have leaks like the rear engine seal or minor leaks like this one right here, it will only leak more with higher pressures. Another reason why I choose to go with 5W30. You can use a 0W30, but it's a little too thin for me. That's why I go with 5W30. Mercedes does recommend Mobile One for engine oils, and as it usually comes with a sticker right here. And I do go with the Mobile One engine oils, and because this car has over 280,000 miles, I use a 5W30 extended performance high mileage oil. So that being said, let's put 7.5 quarts in this baby. Besides the inspection items and the service items that come with a B or an A service, there are additional required inspection items that pertain to the number of years or the miles driven that also need to be addressed. For example, air filter replacement every 60,000 miles or 4 years, whichever comes first. The air filter has not been done in a while, so we will replace that as well, which will be the next item we will address. Also, every 60,000 miles or 5 years, you have to replace the fuel filter as it is for the M class and the spark plugs. As far as the spark plug goes, if you go on the very last page over here, it says for the spark plugs on an M113 engine, they're due every 100,000 miles or 5 years, not 60,000 miles. But the spark plugs, if you look on the video history of that I made, spark plugs were just replaced this past winter, maybe less than 10,000 miles ago. So what we're going to do right now, we're going to replace the air filter. And as far as the fuel filter goes, that's a video all by itself because this thing is super complex. It's back here, and I will possibly have to remove the back seats and the carpeting and all that to access the fuel lines and filter, but we're not going to talk about that until actually we replace the fuel filter. And like I said, that will be a video all by itself. For the time being, all we're going to do is replace the air filter, and we're also going to do as far as the replacing the brake fluid. This past winter, the brake fluid was replaced when the brakes were replaced. We're going to inspect the body. We're going to check the chassis for support body parts for damage and corrosion. And we're going to check the body paint. And then we're going to, coolant was replaced this past winter when the water pump, belt, and thermostat, all that was done. And then we're going to address finally the moonroof. So let's go ahead and change the air filter. That's next. The air filter unit is also an STP, and it's part number SA8767, and it is super easy to do. All we have to do is actually open up this housing here, and it's literally a bunch of clips, and this thing should come right out like so. And just like that, the air filter housing comes off and the air filter comes out. Let me see. Just like so. Even though it's still good, it's been years since the last time I replaced it. But before we replace this air filter, let's go ahead and vacuum in here, because once the engine shuts off, dust settles back in the base here. When the engine starts up, it gets sucked up into the filter again. So let's go ahead and vacuum this up, and then we'll install the new filter. Okay, we can now put the new filter. The short end goes in the front. Go ahead and tuck this filter in so that it's inside of the recessed area of the lower part of the housing. Okay, this is in. We can now put the upper part back on like so. Again, we covered the air filter replacement. Fuel filter, we're not going to do it yet. Spark plugs have been replaced this past winter, about 6 months ago. Brake fluid replaced this past winter. Next, we're going to do an inspection of the body work, the body paint damage. And then we're going to do the chassis and support body parts for damage and corrosion. Now, I've already put the engine cover back so that I can coast the engine, the hood down. One little detail, when you put the lower shroud, this part right here, when you put this back, after changing the oil on this part right here, it comes with 6 plastic screws. Be sure to do this. There's going to be a rubber lip. Make sure that it comes above here so that when you're driving along and air goes inside of these inlets here, it actually goes through the channel that comes with that bottom engine cover to have airflow on the oil pan, and it's for cooling characteristics and extend the oil life. If I mean, minor detail, but again, how you do anything is how you do everything. If you let this lip sit on the bottom here, then it will flap and not allow proper airflow on the bottom of the channel. We cannot close this. We could do a paint body inspection, and you can see, I mean, this is a 2004 with an original paint, and this thing is, it needs a paint job. Does it need a paint job? Absolutely. Look at this. All the clear finish is gone. It's got chips everywhere. But I gotta tell you, despite being a 21-year-old car, it's doing well. It's got some minor dents here. I have no idea how these came about right here. I don't know if you could see them. You see them? I don't know how this happened. This right here was a shopping cart. Again, paint remover, the clear is gone here. The roof is in great shape, actually. It looks a lot like the sides here. And you get little dings from everybody and their sister when they open the door. They got to smack against your car for whatever reason. I don't know why. See it right here? Otherwise, the body is in actually pretty good shape for a 21-year-old. As we go in the back here, again, paint discoloration, the clear is gone. It's by design. It happens right there. When I used to live in Nevada, some kid with a BB gun shot the bead. It didn't go through, but it did this damage right here. And this broke when I did the spare tire video. And this side is actually in pretty good shape. See it? The paint holds up well on this car. Again, same thing along here where people open their doors against your car. Like I said, for a 21-year-old car, it's doing really well. See, again, paint. I'm going to get a paint job on this car, and it's the original paint code I want to get on it. And I got to tell you, this car has been living in Los Angeles. It has lived in Nevada and has lived here in Utah now. And these are very low humidity. And this car has very little to no corrosion. And as if you can see, I mean, I don't know if you guys have been seeing these videos that I've been making on this car, and there's always almost no corrosion on here. Let me get a flashlight so you can actually see what I'm talking about. Look at this. Does it look like there's corrosion on this thing? This thing is phenomenal. Look at that body. There's very little corrosion, and usually you see some videos of people people's maintenance videos on their cars, and those things are just eaten up in corrosion. But this thing, I gotta tell you, look at this. Look at this, is phenomenal. It's in phenomenal shape. It's in really good shape when it comes to body corrosion. There's very little of it. It was never really exposed to high salt environment, maybe a little bit right here, but it's minimal for a 21-year-old car. It's actually amazing. I am literally impressed with it. And same goes with the bottom too. Look at this. Same here. Very little corrosion. Easily just sandblasting in, painting, and this thing is back to no problems at all. Look at that. Does it look like it's got major corrosion and major... No, it's actually doing pretty good. Look at this. In phenomenal shape, the frame and body of this car. I gotta tell you, I am impressed. So that is what it calls for you to look at when it comes to body and corrosion and paint damage or paint or the paint condition. So we did the inspection of the body for paint damage, check chassis and supporting body parts for damage and corrosion, and replace the coolant. I did this past winter. Last item on the list is sliding pop-up roof, clean and grease sliding rails and sliders. Let's open the moonroof and let's see what that's all about. And that is the last item on the list, guys. Last item on the list. Spark plugs already were done this past winter. So once I got the moonroof opened, you'll notice I cleaned off all the old grease on the sliding part and inside the track, and we're just gonna put some new grease. And it is kind of tacky, the grease that I removed, so we're gonna put some tacky, nothing crazy, just so you know, just a hair. You're not gonna go crazy with the grease. Nothing, yeah, just like that. And then you're gonna do the same thing right here too, see it? Let's put a little film of grease, like so. I am using a Lucas Oil red grease. And I'm going to do the same thing on the other side. There it is. That is the extent of what the just clean the old grease, inspect it, and put new grease. It's all I'm asking to do. You'll notice that the pop-up spoiler is missing. And that's unfortunate. One of the weaknesses of the W163 ML class Mercedes, these spoilers that break easily right at the clips here. I don't know if you can see it. Yeah, let me see this clip right here. It's just plastic and it broke, and the same thing on the other side right there. I don't know if you can see it. It's just broken. This thing just broke, and that's it. And you cannot get one. You cannot get one. You cannot order one. If you want one, you're gonna have to get another one of those plastic ones that go on the outside. That I don't know. I just don't like it the way it looks. So yeah, we're just gonna put some grease in the tracks, and we're gonna do the same thing on the other side. And there's a couple other things we're gonna do together before we call it a day. So let me put some grease on the other side, like I did over here, and we'll cover the next point that is not on the A/B inspection, but that you should be doing because it is of vital importance. Let me finish the job on the other side, and we'll talk. While I was cleaning the grease and getting ready to finish this moonroof job, you'll notice that I have been running the car, and the car is now evaporating temperature, because not only do we need to circulate the engine oil and let it settle for a few minutes, but what I also want to do, what I want you to do, is make it a habit of checking the transmission oil, because that's never mentioned anywhere, yet they give you a tube and you can buy the dipstick to check the oil. So let's go ahead and close this, because we are done with this. And here we go, that's done. And now we can open the hood and check the transmission fluid. Get yourself one of these, what looks like an oversized dipstick. And what you're gonna do, once the transmission reaches operating temperature, you're just gonna stick it in that port right there. And like so, and you're just gonna bring it all the way to the bottom until it reaches the bottom. Like so. And you, okay, hit the bottom, now you can pull it up. And just make it a habit of checking the oil, transmission oil. And this transmission oil, as you can see, it's right within range, and that's a beautiful thing. We can now shut the engine off and do a final inspection of the engine oil, because we need to top that off. Let's do it. Okay, we shut the engine off and we let it rest for a little while. We can now check the oil. And let's see what the oil level is. As you can see, it's right in the middle of the safety range. And as I showed you earlier on the book, from the minimum to the maximum of the safety range, it is actually 2 quarts in this car. So all we're gonna do is throw in another half a quart Well, 5W30, not 5W30, 5W30, this one right here, and then we're gonna call it good. It'll be well within a safety range and good enough for this car. I forgot to mention the wheel, guys. When you put these wheels back on and you get it off the jacks, the torque on these is 110 foot-pounds. Make sure you torque in a star pattern. My friend, we are done. We did everything, and we did everything by the book. Not only that, we went a little above and beyond to check a couple of things that needed to be looked at, such as transmission fluid, and that's the only thing I can think of right now that we did above and beyond. Remember to smash that like button if this video was of help to you, and remember to subscribe also for more content like this, and we will see you at the next video. Hopefully this video was of help to you. See you next time. Take care.